What's up, guys, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode 76. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason. I'm joined, as always, by Battlefield Update 9.00.12, also known as Travis to most of you. Travis, what's going on today?
I am Battlefield Update.
You are. You certainly are. Anything good going on?
No, nothing at all.
Yeah,
Our beloved Tops lost last night in the conference championship.
they did.
Terrible scene.
Yeah.
Our beloved volleyball Tops won, so keeping that train rolling. Did you see the thing? They're like 52-2 this calendar year.
I did not see that, but that's pretty incredible.
So like their only loss was in the tournament last year, and then whoever they lost to earlier this year, that was like ranked. Maybe
That's
Kentucky.
Yeah, somebody like that. That's insane. That's nuts.
Fucking wild.
Well, I don't have much to say. I ate a little chocolate Pop-Tart before we got going here just to hold me over, and got my heater on down here in the basement. I do have one complaint to make, and it's that my wife took my podcasting chair, which was a computer chair, swivels on caster wheels, everything. It's now up in the man cave, and it's been replaced by an old dining room table chair, which is not the same. So that's very disappointing.
You need to get those old dining room chairs from the 70s that are basically made of foam.
For real. Yeah.
Those things are nice.
So I lodged a complaint in the wife department about that, and
Put in a work order.
put in a work order and was told basically tough shit to just use the dining room table. I said,
Nice.
okay. That's how it goes sometimes. Them's the breaks. But anyway, Travis, we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together to discuss all things PlayStation, such as news, rumors, new games, and much more. We do so in under 90 minutes every time, and we post new episodes every Monday on all the usual podcast services around the world, as well as YouTube, where we also post game streams and clips, which we have been doing quite a bit this week. Several different games, Battlefield, Insurgency. I feel like there was something else I posted gameplay from, but yeah, we've been active this week. You can also find us on social media if you would like to engage with us on Twitter, of course, at the DualSense Podcast, or actually it's at the DualSense Pod, I'm sorry. Instagram is at the DualSense Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook, and we also have a blog. It's the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.co. We pretty much just post our new episodes there for now, but it's got our headshots there if you want to see how handsome we are. So without further ado, Travis, let's jump into the news here. We got a lot to talk about. It turned into a very meaty news week, as I like to say. So here we go. Number one, PlayStation is developing a new subscription service aimed at competing with Xbox's Game Pass service, according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. The new service is codenamed Spartacus, and it will allow subscribers to pay a monthly fee for access to a catalog of both modern and classic games, according to sources. The service will likely be available on both PS4 and PS5 when it launches sometime in the spring of 2022, and it is designed to merge the PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now services together. Schreier stated that documents he gained access to revealed that the PlayStation Plus branding will remain, while PlayStation Now gets phased out. The new Spartacus service will offer 3 membership tiers. The first will include the existing PlayStation Plus benefits. The second tier will include Tier 1 benefits and add a large catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. And the third tier, naturally, would include everything from Tiers 1 and 2, while adding extended demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PS1, PS2, PS3, and even PlayStation Portable games, Travis. What do you think?
Yeah, no Vita there, so it's still dead.
They're still killing it.
So whenever you said that, according to the document Schreier gained, I imagined it was like Watergate, and he snuck in with some random dude.
Me too.
Yeah, this is something you've been harping on for a while now. Something that where you combine Now and PS Plus, and you could even tier it out. So you've basically outlined this for them. I don't know if they took it from you or not, but that's pretty funny that they're onto this now. My initial reaction was Spartacus must be some sort of nod at Xbox, like they're rebelling, just like the movie, like they're
Yeah.
like I just thought that was really funny. But
Great show too.
this is something PlayStation needs to do as a response. I'm sure it won't be exactly like Game Pass. I highly doubt that new releases will go straight onto there. I would be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah.
And to be fair, their first party games and their exclusives sell so well, it doesn't really make sense to do that.
Hmm.
That might change once this exists. That might change, but so we'll see. The spring of 2022 is not what I expected. I expected that when this came about, we would find out about it 18 months in advance, not 4. So
Yeah.
that's interesting to me. Usually stuff like this leaks a lot faster. So I wonder if that's a really realistic date or not, but we'll see. As far as what tier, I mean, it's perfect because it gives you the tiers to where you can customize your subscription to how you play and what you play. For somebody like me, I'm not sure how much I would play older games. I don't
Right.
really go back to the games I have now anyway.
Hmm.
So probably a tier 1 would make more sense to me. It's like I said, like I'm not what am I gonna play that I've already played? If it came up there that was like
Yeah.
you could play SOCOM co-op and you could play NCAA
Oh.
football and you could do this and that and the other. Sure. Yeah, I'll go tier 3, but
Oh yeah.
I highly doubt that's the case because are the servers still operating? And then they're building those out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions there that I'm sure kind of eliminate a lot of games, but
Yeah.
yeah, they needed to do this to respond to Xbox, so it's about time.
Yeah. I think this is a great idea, and like you said, it is a response that has been needed in a way. If you remember, Jim Ryan said back several months ago that they would have a response to Game Pass. So
Mhm.
this is obviously that. I agree with you. I don't think that they're ever going to put new first party releases on the service day one. And I think there's been some people talking about that online this week
Mhm.
saying as much, but that just doesn't make sense for them still. And I think that's fine, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds weird, but I don't want those games day one on. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like as a consumer, I would have loved it for them to just give me all of the first party games day one. But at the same time, Game Pass is not profitable. For a company like Microsoft that's huge and has a huge market cap, they can survive that, right? They can just eat that. That doesn't mean anything to them. But for a company like Sony, like PlayStation, a much smaller, if you will, company in terms of market size, that's not necessarily sustainable for them, as Jim Ryan has said in the past. So there's
Mhm.
a big difference between those two companies, and why I don't think PlayStation and Sony will go that far. But with what this is being reported as, I think this is awesome. I think the tiers are a great idea, as you said. It gives people options as far as how much they want to spend, how far they want to go, and for somebody like you said, if it's just you just want to have play online and get a couple games every month for free, then cool, you got tier one. If you're somebody like me who is subscribed to PlayStation now and also PS Plus, obviously, it sounds like tier two is
Mhm.
basically the existing version of what I'm doing now. And that's cool. That's probably where I'll end up. However, then there's also the tier three for the more what I would call hardcore people who want to go back and play the older games, which occasionally I want to do that, but not very often, right?
Right.
And I think that they know that the people who want to do that are the extremely hardcore, and that they're willing to pay for that
Yeah,
ability
sure.
to do that, which is why it's going to be the third tier, because they know they can get people to pay for that. So I think that's smart. I think that makes total sense. And I think this is a big deal. I think this is huge for PlayStation. I think it's a good response. Of course, it hasn't been formally announced yet, so it may
May
look a
change.
little bit different by the time it gets announced. But of what we know about it so far, I think this sounds awesome. Now, the only thing they've got to do is they've got to get the pricing right. The price, like they've got to get the prices right. And because if they mess that up, then it won't matter necessarily. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
I was wondering about that too. Like, are they gonna stay with the yearly thing, or are they gonna go to a
Yeah.
monthly pay? I mean, you could almost make an argument that the tier 3 could be monthly, like, but,
Hmm.
do you keep tier 1 at the price it's at now and then make tier 2 $30 more dollars, and then the tier 3 $30 more dollars, so it's double? I mean, that
Yeah.
that would be what I would think might work. Any more than that, I think you're asking a lot.
Yeah. So I think was PlayStation Plus $60 a year right now. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I always get it on sale, so I
Yeah.
don't really
Yeah.
know.
Me too. Yeah. I've never paid more than like 35 for it lately. So my guess is that tier one is $5 a month or $60 a year. Well, actually, I bet they'll incentivize a yearly fee. So I wonder how they'll do that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like if
like
you pay for a
$9 a
year,
month, 60
yeah,
for the year.
yeah, something like that. But let's just say they just do it straight up the math, right? So you got $5 a month, $60 a year. I bet tier twos, $10 a month. What would that be? Two
120.
120 or 120 120 a year, and then I bet the third tier will be like $15, which would be the same as what Game Pass Ultimate would be. And Game Pass Ultimate also includes things like, backwards compatible games, game streaming, so on and so forth. So that if they follow the pricing scheme of Xbox, then that would kind of be how that shakes out. So maybe 5, 10, 15, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. It could be a little bit more than that. I would be fine with paying $15 for the second tier and then say, hey, for $20 a month, here's the third tier. So I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what they do. But it's exciting. And we don't have to wait too much longer to find out exact details, I would assume. Number 2, Electronic Arts announced a massive shakeup of all things Battlefield this week, following Battlefield 2042's challenging launch. For starters, DICE general manager Oscar Gabrielson is leaving the company for new opportunities outside of Electronic Arts. In his absence, Rebecca Kutaz, the former studio director at Ubisoft Annecy, is taking over as general manager of DICE. Also, Respawn Entertainment's Vince Zampella has been appointed as the head of the Battlefield franchise moving forward, in addition to his duties overseeing the Apex Legends and Star Wars franchises for EA. Meanwhile, former Halo designer Marcus Leto, who we recently learned is building a team in Seattle for EA, will begin work on projects that inject storytelling into the Battlefield series. Elsewhere, Ripple Effect Studio, formerly known as DICE LA, the developer of 2042's Portal mode, is developing a new Battlefield experience set in the 2042 universe. EA told website GameSpot that in the immediate future, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Leto's new Seattle studio will all work together to expand upon and improve Battlefield 2042. These teams will then be intertwined going forward by what EA revealed will be a quote-unquote connected Battlefield universe, with new boss Vince Zampella saying, quote, "We will continue to evolve and grow Battlefield 2042, and we'll explore new kinds of experiences and business models along the way that we can add to that foundation to provide an awesome array of experiences for our players. In this universe, the world is interconnected with shared characters and narrative. This universe is also built with our community as we harness the power of Portal and user-generated content that puts creativity in the hands of our players," end quote. In light of all this, reporter and insider Tom Henderson revealed that the next Battlefield is being designed as a hero shooter with a battle royale mode, and that 2042 was designed as a stepping stone to take the franchise in that direction. Henderson also reported that Battlefield 2042 sold 4.23 million copies in its first week, which is the second best launch in franchise history behind only Battlefield 3 at 4.68 million copies. And finally, Travis, in other Battlefield news, EA revealed that new content for 2042 will start arriving in the new year, including a new map called Exposure, limited time 64-player modes on next-gen consoles, and of course, the game's first season of post-launch content. Also, I did want to add, as you and I talked earlier, the executive producer for Battlefield 2042 has also departed the company this week. So, a lot to take in there, and this was originally going to be the number one news story, if you couldn't tell. So, what are your thoughts just on any of this? Start wherever you want.
Well, at first, a couple people leaving isn't that big of a deal. That's kind of could be expected in any form or shape with
Mm-hmm.
any company to chase an opportunity to, either get some new flavor in your life or advance your career. But when this many people leave, who are at 4 now, that are higher level administration, it kind of makes you curious.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if it almost to me, based off of what I've read online, it has less to do with the performance of the game now, and maybe more to do with the direction they wanted to go in. That maybe these
Yeah.
people stayed on to, finish their commitment of putting out 2042. When you look at the people that are kind of stepping in, you have somebody from Ubisoft, great. That doesn't inspire a lot in me. You have Zampella, who does Apex Legends and Star Wars, which, to be fair, I thought the Star Wars games were interesting, and then the online was pretty cool. And it
Yeah.
shot well. The guns were fun. But, it's, again, Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Somebody from Halo's coming over. It makes you feel like the game is not going to be what we think of as Battlefield moving forward, at least to me. That's
Mm.
my concern with those people. So those are reasons I feel like these people left is more likely because of the direction of the game than necessarily all the pushback they've gotten from 2042. That's just my opinion. That being said, jumping to the bottom real quick, the fact that it's the second highest selling Battlefield is interesting. We've talked before. I don't think the game is bad. Right now, even with updates we got this week, you can tell they've nerfed a couple of things, like some of the vehicles aren't as overpowered,
Hmm.
whatever you wanna call it, the little air the what is that thing's called? The little hovercraft thing?
Oh yeah,
It seems a lot more normal now.
yeah.
I think some of the gun balance is better and some of the kickback's better. So, obviously they're making strides, and I think like we've seen Tom tweet and other people tweet and talk about, this game 4 to 6 months will be good where it should be when it launched. So, and it's not to say it's not good now, but we'll be kind of at the end game then, I guess, or the goal then. But yeah, there's a lot going on here, and this being a stepping stone game to a hero shooter isn't really something
Mm-hmm.
that piques my interest. I feel like that should be its own thing if that's what they wanna do.
Mm-hmm.
Battlefield should be what it is. There's a reason why it's been popular, and, yeah, there is things change, things are different, but at what point is it not the game anymore is kinda what I'm asking, and it almost feels like that they're teetering towards that now, especially with, like, the specialist and, I don't know, the reward systems and stuff like that. It just feels like it's not like it used to be, is
Yeah,
kinda what I'm getting at, and these people leaving that have been there for a while doesn't make me feel any better about that direction.
yeah. I agree with some of what you said. So, in fairness to Vince Zampella, Vince is the former co-founder of Infinity Ward, who are the creators of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, 4, or I guess Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and 3. So that's Vince
Mhm.
Zampella. He was Call of Duty when it was in its heyday, in my opinion. So that was him, and another gentleman, and then they eventually got forced out by Activision to leave the company. So Vince does have very good chops, good pedigree. So I have faith that he knows what he's doing. In shooter franchises, I think that's a big get. It's a big name for him to be involved in that in Battlefield going forward. But back to the overall picture, I think that some of this is encouraging. For instance, Vince Zampella being involved as an example is encouraging, and some of it is concerning. Like you said, I think that they've got a lot of the right idea, a lot of the right people, and they're putting some firepower behind the franchise. I think it's cool that they've got all of these teams already working to improve 2042 first before they, start doing other stuff or go more heavily into the things that they're working on. It seems like this didn't just happen. Like, this is so many moving parts that it's hard to imagine, like, oh, Battlefield launched, launched and was rocky, so now let's get rid of the general manager and bring all these people in. Like, it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like a lot of moving parts for all that to happen in just a
Mm,
few weeks. You know what I mean?
right.
But maybe it is. I mean, it's a big company. Maybe they can just make stuff like that happen quickly. But this, to me, almost seems like this is something that's been kind of stewing for a while, because they've probably known for a little bit, obviously, that the game is not where it should have been when it launched. One of the other things is that I think, based on how I read all of this information, I think what this looks like going forward is you're going to have DICE making your normal ish Battlefield type games or entries in the series. It sounds like Ripple Effect is going to make a battle royale mode. And it sounds like, who else was the other one? Oh, the Seattle studio from the Halo guy. Sounds like they're going to make some type of narrative, like single player game or
Yeah,
something.
but they'll all
Is how
tie
I,
together through a storyline.
yeah, that's how I take all of that. So it sounds like there's going to be several different types of experiences that they're going to offer, which is cool. But like you said, if Tom is correct in that the next game that we're going to get from the Battlefield franchise is a hero shooter, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that, because I mean, you got to think that's kind of like Apex Legends in a way, where they have the characters that's like Overwatch, that's that sort of thing. Like, I don't think I want that from Battlefield, because like you said, we kind of had that now in the specialist, but it's still Battlefield. You still got conquest, large open warfare, all that stuff. You just
Mhm.
have specialists. Like, they put specialists into Battlefield. They didn't take Battlefield out and make it specialist shooter. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but the
I don't know.
specialists to me do feel a little bit like Apex Legends or
Yeah.
Overwatch. Like they have certain things they're good at, and like I guess that makes sense in one sense because you do have specialists in the military, so it does make sense. But
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just weird.
Yeah. And then just to wrap it all up here. So for as much pissing and moaning that there's been, as you said, it's the second best launch for a Battlefield game ever, behind only Battlefield 3, and not by much. So and Tom also shared some of the player counts and things like that. So player count is healthy, sales are healthy. So people don't obviously hate it that much, and people are playing it. And like you and I've talked about, since the few patches that they've done, the game's really not that bad. Like the game is fun. There's still a couple glitches and things they need to fix, and I still think the maps are a little too big, especially in Conquest. But overall, the game is fine. Like, it's a good game. So, can you make the argument that they've took stuff out, like, being able to lay prone on your ass and stuff like that? Yeah, of course they've definitely cut some stuff. But is the game itself good? Yeah, it's fine. Number 3, the next BioShock game leaked this week as Last Stand Media's Colin Moriarty revealed in a new video that, according to his sources, the next entry in the BioShock series will take place during the 1960s in a fictional Antarctic city called Borealis. Moriarty said the new entry will be tied narratively to the previous BioShock games, and that developer Cloud Chamber is scheduled to release the game sometime in 2022. Other new rumors suggest the game will be announced in the first quarter of next year and is called BioShock Isolation. Oddly, publisher Take-Two is publishing both this game as well as BioShock creator Ken Levine's next game. Levine is no longer involved with the franchise, but several series veterans are, including Jonathan Pelling, who is a designer on the original BioShock and is now design director on this new BioShock, Hoagie de la Puente, excellent name, who worked on the original BioShock across multiple disciplines and is creative director on this game. And then Scott Sinclair, the art director on the original game, is working on the new project as well. Any thoughts?
I do enjoy the time period, 1960s fictional Antarctic city. That's fun. I
Mm-hmm.
like that I understand the name of the city because I know what the
Yeah.
Borealis are. All that stuff sounds fun. Look, I've never really been into BioShock. I'm not sure that will change with this, but
Yeah.
I'm sure this will do well, especially if they put it together in the way that most of us expect they will. I think it will do well. Take Two does pretty well with their games, all things considered. So as long as they don't put Ronnie 2K on this to pump it up, yeah, maybe they'll put some BioShock skins in your My Player or something like that. Get people
Oh,
interested in
Christ.
him. But I would like to see more games in this time period, the Cold War period. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm glad to see that we have something there. I'm interested to see some art styling, some screenshots, so a little bit of gameplay, even if it's a vertical slice. I just kind of want to see what the world looks like. I'm really interested in what the actual environment will be.
Yeah, I agree. I think the setting, the time period sounds awesome. And it makes me, as someone who's not a BioShock person who thinks it's overrated,
Right.
it makes me interested in the game. This one sounds pretty awesome, just based on the setting and the time period alone. So I'd be interested to see more and to know what it looks like and how it plays. There's been some rumors in the past that they're making it like an open world game instead of like a linear, just kind of linear story based game. It's going to be more open worldy. Well, I guess time will tell on that. I think it's a good sign that they've got or not all of, but they got a big bunch of the original staff working on the game that were, high up in high up positions. So I think that bodes well because the first one is regarded as the best one. I don't know. I guess we don't have much longer to wait to see, but I think this game started being developed in 2019. So 3 years to make a game seems pretty quick. So I'm not totally sold on it coming out in 2022 because I feel like nobody makes a AAA game in 3 years anymore. So we'll see about that. But anyway, that'll be a big one whenever it does come out. So allegedly, we'll learn more in the first quarter of next year. Number 4, we received a few updates on major game releases this week. For starters, Dying Light 2 developer Techland announced that the upcoming open world co op zombie killing sequel has gone gold ahead of its release on February 4th. New gameplay was also revealed, and we learned that the game will weigh in at 21 gigabytes on PS5. Elsewhere, Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red announced in its latest company briefing that the PlayStation 5 version of the game will be releasing in the first quarter of 2022, so by the end of March. Alongside the next gen version, the game will also get a quote unquote major update on all platforms. CD Projekt Red also revealed that the next gen version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is still on track for a second quarter 2022 release, so sometime between the 1st of April and the end of June. CD Projekt Red also shared that they continue to restructure and expand their development teams in what appears to be an attempt to right the ship following a disastrous, albeit extremely financially successful launch of Cyberpunk 2077 at the end of 2020. What do you think?
Well, I was pretty shocked when you showed me the tweet announcing Dying Light was gold. I didn't
Yeah.
believe it. I thought it was like a joke.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty convinced we won't get it on the 4th because based on the track record, like the planes will crash in the Atlantic or something with all of the stuff, and then we won't be able to download it off the store because it won't be fair that disc owners can't get it. So I feel like that's going to happen in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But interesting. I'm ready to see what the reviews are on that. I'm sure it will do well. I don't know how well, but I can't imagine it being terrible. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe that they're still rolling with Cyberpunk at this point. Don't really have much more to say about it other than that. I can't imagine. Like, how many people are going to go back to it? Like, have people not given up on it already? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have a lot of questions. But anyway, that's fine. Good for them, I guess. They have a lot of money to roll around in, so I guess they can fix it.
Yeah.
And lastly, The Witcher 3 Wild Cunt.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it. I also, likewise, could not believe that Dying Light 2 went gold. But I would like to remind people, Travis, that Cyberpunk 2077 also went gold in the fall of 2020 and still got delayed after the
Oh,
fact,
that's right. I forgot.
which very rarely happens. But if Cyberpunk can do it, then Dying Light certainly can do it. So I don't know, but I'm being facetious in a way. I think it's going to come out on February the 4th. Most games do after they go gold, obviously. So I have faith. I'm just busting balls a little bit. I hope the game is good. I really want to play it. I really want the game to be good. I'm going to wait for reviews on it. I feel like it's going to review around an 80 on Metacritic. Just my gut right now. The gameplay I've seen of it looks good. The parkour looks really good. It looks like they've added a lot of parkour moves or whatever, and the environments look awesome. There's more like greenery in the environments, like the
Yes.
city I guess looks more vibrant than the last one where it was kind of just like brown and gray, and kind of like just like grimy looking. I don't know. The environment looks cool, so that's exciting. I'm really surprised that it only takes up 21 gigs on the PS5. That really surprises me for an open world game because like Chivalry 2 for instance is 16, you know, and then you got a big open world game going to be 21, so that's curious. As far as Cyberpunk and The Witcher, I'm actually one of the people that is excited about both. If the update on the PS5 is good, I plan slash hope to just restart the game. I'm just going to start from scratch. And I hope it's a significant upgrade. I hope it's the version of the game that we deserved in the first place. So, but we'll see. We'll also see if it actually comes out then. The Witcher 3, I'm curious how good they can make the game look or how substantial of an upgrade that will be on The Witcher, just because I don't know, like, because that game's an older, it came out in 2015, so I don't know. I'm curious how much work, I guess, is my question, that they're putting in on that game, but I'm excited about that too because I never did play the DLCs, so we'll see. Gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, even though they've not done too hot here lately. Number 5, PlayStation Studio Media Molecule released a quote unquote Made in Dreams game this week alongside a massive update for the game. The previously announced Ancient Dangers, a Bat's Tale, is a local co op third person dungeon crawler that's available now. In addition, the Dreams update includes a significant overhaul to quote unquote Dream Shaping, the game's creation mode, to make it easier and faster to make games in dreams. This new update also included new templates and elements for creating a 2D platformer, a dungeon crawler, a side scrolling shoot 'em up, and a mini golf game, and more. Any thoughts?
I haven't messed with Dreams at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool idea. I like that you can build whatever you want, but I'm also not going to take the time to build whatever I want.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if I had this, I would probably spend hours just making mini golf games. I love mini golf games. I don't know why. I used to
Mm-hmm.
play them on the computer when I was a kid. I don't know what it is about mini golf games. But
Yeah.
anyway, No, this is interesting. I mean, part of me feels like it's just them like patting themselves on the back by doing stuff like this. I know that they're making the game better, but I just keep every time that I read about this, I think about the Obama meme where he just gives himself a medal. Like, I don't really know what to make of all of this, but I mean, I guess it's cool. And some of the stuff you
Yeah.
see out of Dreams is really cool. But again, it's like I'm never gonna get it. So whatever.
Yeah, I'm like you. Like this all sounds cool. Like the fact that you can make these different type of games in Dreams, but at the same time, like, do I really want to make a game or do I just want to play a game? And I think that's,
Right.
I think that's the struggle for me. And I don't know. I guess at surface level, like I understand what they're doing with this, but on the other hand, like, is anybody really playing this or like do like? I guess is that I guess that's the word playing the game. Like, is anybody buying Dreams? I don't know. Like the other, I guess the other part of that is like, is this what Media Molecule is going to do for now?
Like
Like
forever.
from now on, like they're just going to make these little games inside their own game and release them as a Made in Dreams project or whatever. Like that's what they're doing. Like they're not going to make a proper game or anything like that.
Yeah.
And if that's true, if this is what they're going to do from now on, or at least for the immediate future, I think that's a problem. Like people don't want to have to. People don't want dangers of bat tail, or I'm sorry, ancient dangers of bat's tail for from Media Molecule per se. Like it could be a fun little experience or whatever. But like people want proper games from first party studios.
Hmm.
And I don't know if this is sustainable for them either. Are they making money on this shit?
That's what I
Like,
was thinking. How do they
I,
make money? Are you
how,
buying games from somebody who makes one? But
yeah.
then you're
I mean,
not
you're having
selling
to,
it. So
yeah, exactly. Like, are people buying Dreams for $30 or $40 or however much it is to play Ancient Dangers of Bat's Tail? I don't know. Or maybe they're way ahead of the curve and we just can't see it yet. Maybe one day we'll look back on this and they're like, damn, they had it figured out. They were just releasing new little mini games,
mhm.
and you just had to pay $40 for it, and you got a new mini game from Media Molecule, twice a year.
It's like
So
the first guy who invented the windshield wiper and nobody bought it, and then the second person they're on every car.
exactly. So maybe they're just smarter than everyone else and they've got it figured out. I don't know. We'll see. See what they're doing. Number 6, PlayStation officially announced the December PlayStation Plus games, which were leaked last week. Godfall, Mortal Shell, and LEGO DC Supervillains are this month's offerings. There's one more important note to make, however. Godfall is a new edition of the game called the Challenger Edition, which only includes the game's in game content and thus removes the main story and expansion content. Players will have the option to upgrade to the Deluxe Edition and receive both of those pieces of content if they so choose. Do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, there's been a lot of words used to describe what Godfall is in this. We're gonna call it in this free giveaway. They basically give you a demo of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's pretty shitty, but well, what can you say? I mean, I kind of feel like as a company, it's almost worth trying it with a game like that isn't super popular, and it will make a little bit of noise, but you can try out your theory and see if it works. If they did that with like a free God of War game, I think it'd be a lot more people would freak out a lot more. So it kind of makes sense where it's like popular enough that it can get some downloads and see if it will work. They can look at the statistics and see if it works,
Yeah.
but not so popular it's necessarily a black eye. But for most of us, in the world of gaming, it's kind of a shitty move on their part. But that being said, Moral Shell isn't terrible. Lego DC Supervillains looks pretty cool. So I think those two are really good additions. Just the Godfall thing feels like an experiment to see what they can get away with.
Yeah. The other two games are fine, like you said. And the Godfall thing, I think, is a joke. I don't understand what they're doing. Like, that game did not sell well, was not critically acclaimed or anything like that. It's a decent game. I own it. I don't know what they're losing by not just giving it away on PlayStation Plus. Like at the very least, you give away the standard edition of the game that has the base game, and then if people like it, they'll buy the expansion. Because there's an expansion where they've already put out like 2 pieces of DLC.
Yeah,
So like if you're looking to make money, that way. Just give people the base experience and then allow them to
Yeah,
purchase the expansion if they choose. Like,
do the
so
opposite.
yeah, they did they gave us the in-game stuff, whatever, like the challenge modes basically, which I've never played any of that stuff. It might be really good. I'm not opposed to going and playing it because the combat of that game is what's so good about it in the first place. But like, I just feel like you said, I think they're flirting with fire and maybe trying to see what they can get away with, because if this is what they're going to start doing to justify, oh, here's a PS5 game, but guess what? We stripped it down because we don't want to give you a full PS5 game. I just think that's kind of bullshit. So, I mean, the console's a year old. They should be comfortable enough with giving us some sort of PS5 game at this point. Even if it's not Godfall, give us, I don't know, just there's other like, I guess, double A PS5 games that they can give us at this point. So if you're not comfortable giving Godfall, you're going to have to neuter it, basically bastardize it, and then just give us something else. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this, and most people aren't, but maybe they'll change their mind, but probably not. Number 7, we have a bunch of news nuggets as well, Travis. Feel free to join me here. First nugget, racing game developer Codemasters peeled back the curtains on the upcoming Grid Legends over on the PlayStation blog this week. They also announced that the game will launch on February 25th, and pre-orders are now available. I still don't quite understand this game. It looks a little cooler to me after I saw some of the gameplay, but it also still looks just like Dirt 5, like reskinned
Yeah.
for touring and like track racing. I don't know.
I don't know anybody who's excited about it or is talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it looks like, I don't know, like I said before, it looks like you had this brilliant idea in your head, but you're only capable of getting 80% of the way there. That's what it looks like to me.
Next nugget, dodgeball game Knockout City will receive its 4th season of content starting on December the 7th, featuring UFOs and an alien crash site. A native PS5 version of free-to-play monster hunting game Dauntless released this week. The next-gen update launches alongside the Call to Arms update and includes dynamic 4K targeting 60 frames per second, enhanced environmental textures, DualSense controller support, 3D audio support, and significantly reduced load times. Cross-play and cross-progression is present across PS4 and PS5, and the update also added 36 new trophies, plus a platinum for the PS5 version as well. Website PushSquare reported that a leaked investor presentation revealed that Dimensional Ink Studios, which is the Texas-based division of Daybreak Game Company, the developers behind popular MMO DC Universe Online, is working on a MMO set in the Marvel Universe. DCUO continues to receive support, including its quote-unquote largest expansion content to date, scheduled to release by 2023. I don't know. This might be a little cool, but DC Universe Online was okay, but it's kind of, I don't know, janky. But I guess all MMOs are janky, so whatever. Next nugget, the YouTube app on PS5 now supports HDR. Likewise, the BBC iPlayer app is also now available on the console. The GTA Remastered Trilogy received another update this week, patch 1.03, that includes a number of bug fixes for the much maligned trilogy of classic games.
Yeah, I think I'll give it to patch 05 before I play it. Let me 2 more in.
Yeah, fair enough. Farming Simulator 22 has already sold 1.5 million copies just 1 week after launch.
This will sound weird, but I really think some sort of documentary about the shocking rise of farming simulator games, a yearly series of farming games, would be fascinating, because there's got to be some wild like stories and some crazy ass shit you could learn about it.
Right. Also, just a reminder that Marvel's Avengers new update released this week, featuring the game's first raid and Spider-Man as a playable character, if you're still interested. Both the PS4 and PS5 received new firmware updates this week that improve system performance. Oh boy. The physical release of the remastered GTA trilogy has been delayed and will now release on December the 17th. More rumors seem to confirm that a remastered version of PS1 classic JRPG Chrono Cross is in the works, and that's a big time fart noise. Horizon's Aloy will be the next guest star costume in Fall Guys Season 6, following Sackboy and Jin Sakai. It Takes-Two developer Hazelight has been forced to abandon ownership of the game's title trademark due to a legal dispute with mega publisher Take-Two over the mark.
Well,
I'd say
duh.
they'll probably lose that. Also, Cyberpunk, isometric action RPG shooter The Ascent, has been rated in Taiwan for a release on PS4 and PS5. Let's fucking go. That game's pretty fun. Pretty fun. It's like Dead Nation meets Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay. So you can shoot aliens, but it doesn't work.
Oh, yes. Next nugget, something called The Matrix Awakens, an Unreal Engine 5 experience appeared on the PSN backend this week for PS5, and it will likely coincide with the release of the new Matrix movie on December 22nd.
Speaking of the 22nd of December, are we going to spend 4 hours at the movie theater? Because we got to watch The Matrix, then we got to watch John Wick.
They both come out the same day?
Yeah. That's the last thing I read.
Get the fuck out. I didn't know John Wick was coming out in December.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is just making a bunch of fucking money on that day.
Gosh damn. So I got to see Spider-Man. I got to see that weird Bradley Cooper movie.
Yeah, what's that about? It looks awesome.
Yeah, I got to see John Wick. And then there's something else. I don't know. Nice. Next nugget, Hot Wheels Unleashed received its Batman expansion this week, which is included in the game's Volume 1 pass. There's a deluxe edition on sale currently on the PS Store that includes the game and the Volume 1 pass for like $48. If you're interested.
I lied. John Wick comes out in May.
Oh, thank God. Also, action survival RPG Tribes of Midgard will get its Season 2 of content called The Serpent Saga on December the 14th. It's free to all players. The Lord of the Rings Gollum has been confirmed to appear at the upcoming Game Awards on December 9th. Thank God. Next nugget, physics-based multiplayer party brawler Stick Fight the Game has released on PS4. That game actually looks kind of cool. It's only like $8. I've thought about it. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that United States senators have introduced a bill called the Stopping Grinch Bots Act, which is aimed at preventing scalpers from deploying bots and snagging popular products to sell for above market prices. Still won't work. Still won't stop it. Also, Digital Brothers Group, the parent company of publisher 505 Games, has reached an agreement with developer Mercury Steam Entertainment to co-publish and develop the studio's next title, codenamed Project Iron, a third-person action RPG set in a dark fantasy world. Publisher Nacon and developer Big Bad Wolf Studio announced that Vampire the Masquerade Swansong has been delayed 3 months and will now release on May 19th on PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, getting another one out of February.
Yeah, for real.
That's okay, though. I think that'll be cool. I hope it's cool. It looks cool.
Yeah. Sony Interactive Entertainment's Japanese division has filed a new patent for a PlayStation controller specifically for mobile devices. The model in the patent resembled a DualShock 4 controller that you would slot your mobile phone into. It's kind of neat, but it's not a PS Vita 2, motherfuckers.
Like I told you, I'd snap that thing in half immediately.
You would. Certainly would. Next nugget, Child of Light creator Patrick Plorde teased some sort of follow-up game for the IP this week. The title appears to be a crossover title and not a proper sequel. However, it is in development at Ubisoft, but not by the same team that made the original game.
Okay. I mean, the obvious would be Teenager of Light.
Yes. That's hilarious. You have Teenager of Light, and then you have Adult of Light.
Yeah, Boomer of Light.
Boomer of Light. And then Senior Citizen of Light. And then Corpse of Light. Q Games revealed in an interview with Famitsu that their quirky game, The Tomorrow Children, will re-release sometime next year for PS4 and will most likely no longer be free-to-play. Over half of this year's Game Awards show will be dedicated to new game announcements, with some announcements coming for games that are 3 or 4 years out from release, according to Mr. Jeff Keighley.
It just seems so silly to do 3 or 4 years out. I mean, they're going to get delayed anyway, and some of them they'll just die.
Yeah.
There's games that they've talked about in these award shows a decade ago that never came out.
I agree. Yes, you're absolutely right. Just no more than 2 years. Like, if you're going to show a game at the Game Awards, it needs to be out by the end of 2023. That should be a rule. Like, listen, you want to show a game, that's cool. Has to be out by December 2023. But I mean, there's no way to know that, obviously, but that's just what you should do as a developer, but they won't. Next nugget, website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Street Fighter V, Marvel's Avengers, Fall Guys, Guilty Gear Strive, Dead Cells, Battlefield 2042, Minecraft, Neverwinter, Rainbow Six Siege, No Man's Sky, Splitgate, Quake, and Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. So if you Been waiting for some fixes in those games. Might want to check it out. Developer Respawn Entertainment has discontinued sales of the original Titanfall, and it will also be removed from subscription services on March 1st. The game servers will remain live for existing players for the time being, however.
What's interesting is they'll get pushback for that, but it's like you should have already bought it by now. I mean, that's a, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If you hadn't bought it by now, you were not going to buy it. So just relax. Secondarily, apparently Titanfall 1 servers are like really like fucked or like not in good shape. So
Good, leave 'em
I
up.
guess I guess they just decided to just not sell the game anymore. Next nugget, leaker Millie A, which I still don't think is a real person, claims that the highly anticipated Hogwarts Legacy will get a new trailer or info soon, although Warner Brothers is apparently concerned about backlash over J.K. Rowling's involvement in the project.
What did she do?
She doesn't like transgender women. She thinks if you're a woman, you have a vagina and shit like that. She doesn't like when you call somebody a birthing person and whatever.
Okay.
Or people who menstruate.
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be mad about that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
she's not a big proponent of that sort of thing, and people don't like that. Next nugget, Microids announced that Siberia, The World Before, will release on consoles sometime in 2022, following a release on PC. Ubisoft's For Honor, Travis.
God, year 5.
Will receive year 5, season 4 of content called Frozen Shores, and it will release on December the 9th. That is incredible. Naughty Dog is still hiring for their multiplayer project, and they are now looking for a monetization designer for the game. Oh boy. On a similar note, another new job listing for a technical game designer seems to confirm the rumored remake of The Last of Us, as it states, quote, assisting in implementing existing gameplay systems into a new framework, end quote.
It's a very fancy way of saying remaster.
It really is.
I'm about at my threshold of remasters, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they're still hiring for this multiplayer project, because when you read a couple of those descriptions, it's almost like they're looking for one person in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you expect?
Yeah. So first of all, monetization designer is going to bother a lot of people because that means that there's going to be some type of microtransactions in the game. But there were microtransactions in the first factions mode that was in the original game, so that should be no shock. But just get ready for that. Probably going to be season passes or whatever. Secondarily, they're still hiring for this game. So when the fuck is this game coming out? Like, how much longer do we have to wait for this thing? Like, people are saying, oh, 2022 is the year. Like, is it? They're still hiring people for like key parts of the game.
Maybe we'll find out at the Game Awards.
That'd be cool. Next nugget, Assetto Corsa Competizione will be getting a native PS5 version on February 24th, and it will be free for current owners of the PS4 version. Website Gematsu reported that the console versions of action rescue platformer Fire Girl Hack and Splash Rescue, great name, have been delayed from December 14th to an unannounced date in 2022. Developer Ghost Ship Games announced that cooperative mining first-person shooter Deep Rock Galactic will release on PS4 and PS5 sometime in January. Can't fucking wait for that one. That one's fantastic.
Why? Because you can be like here on Armageddon.
Yeah, I can be Bruce Willis and Steve Buscemi. You can be Steve Buscemi and I can be Bruce Willis.
Okay.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun game. Also, developer 101 Games announced Aftermath, a psychological survival thriller that will come to PS4 and PS5 sometime in 2022. I looked up some of the screenshots of this. This actually looks kind of cool. So we'll see. If it's too scary, I'm fucking out though. Ghost Runner will get an expansion called Project Hell with one L on January 27th. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is now available natively on PS5. The game includes support for 4K and 120 frames per second, as well as DualSense support. PS4 owners can upgrade to the PS5 version for free. Demon Gaze Extra has been delayed from December 9th and will now release on January 6th in North America and Europe.
Do you know who hates Demon Gaze?
I don't.
J.K. Rowling.
That's good. She certainly does. That's why they're always killing those gay demons and Harry Potter and shit. Wow. Next nugget. Almost there, guys. Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires will get a free demo on PS4 and PS5 ahead of its February 25th release in the West. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning will launch its Fate-Sworn expansion on PS4 on December the 14th. First-person exploration game The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe has been delayed out of 2021 and will now release sometime in early 2022. And finally, Gematsu reported that developer PolyArc announced that virtual reality action-adventure puzzle game Moss Book 2 will launch on PSVR sometime in the spring. It's exciting. All right, and that is all for the news this week. I'll turn it over to Travis now for just a few new game releases this week, at least according to Push Square. Take it away.
Yeah, I guess people didn't want to release too much stuff with all the Black Friday sales, but on the second we have Asterix and Obelix Slap Them All. Correct. Slap everyone. We also have Cricket 22, the official game of Ashes, and that cannot be the name.
Right there.
What does it mean, the game of Ashes? What is that?
So the only reason I know this is from listening to Colin and those guys. So that the game of the Ashes is a cricket tournament that I think is between the nations of England or the United Kingdom and Australia. So it's like the World Cup of cricket, I think.
I'm asleep. Okay.
Also, before you move on, you go ahead. I'll talk about it in a second.
All right. We also have Solar Ass on PS5 and 4. Not to be confused. You could combine that with cricket and get a really interesting game there. And on the third, finally, we have Chorus.
That's right. All. Yes. That's all for the games this week. And, Solar Ash is getting like 8s and 7s out of 10s. Apparently it's a decent game. It's not a game for me. I don't like anything that I've seen of it so far. So not for me. The Chorus game, I was interested in it at one point. It's like a space story, like a spaceship story shooter. Sounds kind of interesting and kind of cool, but I don't think it's getting like 7s out of 10s as well. So that's like a game you get on sale, or maybe that's a game that they give us for PS Plus 1 month on PlayStation 5. Cricket 22, gotta tell you. I looked at the PlayStation Store page for this earlier, and I'm oddly interested in the Cricket 22 game.
Okay.
It's also the weirdest price I've ever seen for a PlayStation game. It's $52.49 on the PlayStation Store.
It probably makes sense in Australia, like whatever the conversion is.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I'm oddly interested in it, and they have some really good like videos on the game page. You know how they have like they have a guy. His name's Bajo or something, and he's kind of funny, and he like I don't know goes through the different new features of the game and stuff. I don't know. It's oddly interesting, but I don't think I'm going to pay $52.49 for it. But
we can start a league. Can you imagine the team names?
Oh, I know. You can play online with up to 4 players.
Oh, good God. What are we waiting for?
Look out. When we get bored with NBA, we can play cricket. All right, Travis, let's start to wrap the show up here by discussing what we have been playing and anything we may be looking forward to. What do you got?
I just took my free shit on 2K. I didn't get anything good, so that's typical. Par for the course. I loaded up Hitman, and I was like a day early on the elusive target, so I still need to go and do that. They have a bunch of new content coming out during the Christmas season. You can kill some people and get a Santa suit and ice pick and stuff like that. So I definitely want to get the ice pack this week. I mean, ice pick. Because I'm sure I could just absolutely rip it and throw it like 6,000 yards into somebody's head. That'll be fun. And then the idea that I just sneak up behind somebody, I want to see what the animation is when you kill somebody sneakily, stealthily with the ice pick. Like you just stick it through their ear. I have a lot of questions. So anyway, that looks like a lot of fun. My plan. Well, I watched a video on this elusive target. You can't really kill them. Oh, I could. I'll try to ice pick her. That'll be my goal. Played some Battlefield after the updates. Again, it's not bad. I don't really know a good comp for it right now. Maybe like how Ghost Recon Wildlands was at this point, like where it's fun and there's still some weird stuff and it's not extremely polished, but it's still fun. I think that would be a good comparison at this stage of the game. I did pick up a sniper, and there's a video on our YouTube page of it. I randomly picked up a sniper and just went off one match. So I think that finding, at least the way the game is right now, finding what is good for you, what fits your skill set, is kind of the main thing. The vehicles are fun as always. They had a lot of fun in the helicopters. We had some fun in some tanks. We we ended up in basically a server farm by accident the other night,
Oh yeah.
and we just dismantled people with the what was it, the Wildcat?
Yeah, the Wildcat vehicle.
Fucking hilarious. It was great. And then
Yeah.
and to be fair to them, the bots are actually kind of smart. Like
Yeah.
they still turn into like sponges sometimes where they just stand there, but they were like shooting rockets at us and they were flying things and they would like uh, counterattack the capture points. So like
Mhm.
there's some decent AI in there, which is mildly surprising to me. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But no, it's fun. I'm only two levels away from the sniper I want, so I think at that point I'll really know if I got lucky one day or what, if I just suck at the game. But other than that, I bought Far Cry, so we can do that this week, hopefully.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have that.
Yeah, that's really about it. I'm interested to get onto Far Cry and fool around and see how that goes. And apparently we're getting a Battlefield update next week, so
Mm.
again, we'll have more of an update about the game after that.
Yeah, you need to get through that little like opening story missions for Far Cry. So it gets to a point where it tells you can invite friends to co-op,
I always
and
forget that. Yeah.
yeah, you need to get to that. And we can do it. Speaking of Far Cry, man, that is a fucking fun game. I played that last weekend. Didn't play much like during the week, but I've played it for a few hours now at least, and I had no expectations. I know it's been in the 70s on Metacritic and things like that, but dude, that is that is a fucking fun game. It's hilarious. It's Far Cry, but
Mhm.
there are some little things they do differently that I think are cool. I think the way the weapons feel in the dual sense are awesome. Love the trigger effect and everything like that. It's just comedy. I don't know. I really like it so far. I'm digging it a lot.
You put up a video.
Yeah, I did put up a video of some funny moments, and so if you're interested in seeing some of the comedy that I'm talking about, you can
Mhm.
check that
Oh,
out.
the Molotov cocktail you threw in the car was pretty good. Yeah, it's
Yes,
pretty
I love. Yeah, it's just so awesome. Like you've always been able to shoot and stuff out of the car in Far Cry, but I don't know. It's just I threw the Molotov cocktail on the guy that was trying to ram me in the Jeep. Hilarious. So I'm really loving that so far. I'll just work backwards here. And then also I've been playing a indie game called Death's Door. I don't know if I've talked about that yet here on the show. That game is also fantastic. Definitely going to factor into our game of the year or favorite games of the year episode here in a couple of weeks. I did mention it as my honorable mention title on the post that we did for the Offshore Games Cast guys. So that's on there. Far Cry hadn't made the cut yet because I hadn't played it, but Death's Door is fantastic. It's just a simple like I don't know like dungeon kind of crawling like isometric action game. Like it kind of is like a Dark Souls game, but it's not that hard. And the combat's just simple, but it's really satisfying. You like dodging, attacking, shooting a bow. You get magic at some point, I think, like spells or something. But the art style is really cool. And then the biggest thing is that the music is incredible. The music is fantastic in that game. So I'm really enjoying that. And there's a character in the game who has a kettle pot for a head, and his name is Pothead. His name's Pothead. That's pretty funny. Also played some Insurgency Sandstorm this week. I put about 30 minutes of gameplay up on YouTube from the PS5. It is in 4K and 60 frames, as far as I know. So you can get a good idea of what that plays and looks like on PS5. That game, also loving it. I really like how I talked about it before, but just some of the little nuances, like how it sounds, the radio chatter sounds, how the guns feel. There's a lot of variety in the guns. You can customize. I'm digging it. Not the best looking game graphically in terms of the assets and the textures and whatnot, but it runs good and it's fun. So that's all you can ask for. Not everything can be you know Call of Duty or whatever. Also played some Battlefield 2042 as you mentioned. Like I said earlier, I think the game's good. I don't have any real gripes with it. Still some glitches to work out, but I think the game's good. I'm enjoying it. Don't really have any major complaints other than just, the map size, but that is what it is. The last thing I played this week was NBA 2K22. Didn't play a whole lot. Played a game in the league or two maybe. And I don't really have much more to say about that. Nothing new. The new season did start yesterday. I am at level 15 already.
Oh my god.
It doesn't take that long. It
Oh,
doesn't take
okay.
that long.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, guys.
Just a couple hours or so. So not too long. Yeah, enjoying that. And I'm not really digging the rewards though in the season path this time around. The diamond player is CJ McCollum, which is
It's
kind of
like,
a fart
okay,
noise for
I
me.
mean,
Yeah, it's kind of a fart noise. But you do get a Ruby Deshaun Stevenson, which
that
is
looked
exciting.
interesting. Yeah, that's the only card I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. The Amethyst Doug Collins, that's probably kind of interesting. I had another Doug Collins card that was kind of fun. Anyway, we'll see. So a lot to play right now, a lot of good games on my PS5 that I'm enjoying. It's a good time. So that's all I got. That's all we've got. So let's get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show this week. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. It'll be right there in your feeds waiting for you on Mondays. Also, if you would rate us, review us, leave us a thumbs up, a like, whatever you have on your podcast service there or YouTube, we would very much appreciate that. And finally, and foremost, we'd be much obliged if you would share us with a friend or a loved one who you think may enjoy the show. That would be most helpful. So we'll get out of here now. Hope you guys have a great week. Take care. We'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.